What do you say? I am making illegal moves in order to get an advantage in the game. That is almost by definition cheating. What's going on, Go Format Duelists? I know you read the title. I know what you're here for. There was some shenanigans that happened in this match. That would be the nice way to put it. Now, this is a 2 out of 3 match. I am going to review all of the games. However, if you're just here to see the shenanigans, that starts at the end of game 2 and ends, somewhere around game 3. So this is a sort of a high-level GOAT format ladder match. Nice Boys ranked 1500, which is very high on Dueling Book. This was actually played a couple of months ago. I have sort of like a tool that watches matches and helps me find the interesting ones. So yeah, here is the first game. And in the first game, there isn't really any cheating, although you can see the chat's a little spicy. But yeah, I will talk briefly about this game. I will talk about the plays a little bit, because I know you guys like that too. So yeah, Nice Boys playing Warriors. XP3, or Expert. Oh, Expert. Okay, yeah. Expert is, in my opinion, not an expert. He's playing a very strange deck, which you'll see in, to some extent, game 1, but it becomes even more apparent in games 2 and 3. I will say, like, setting Sinister turn 1, especially with meta in hand, can be kind of risky, because you don't want it to get hit by crossout. But, yeah, it actually punishes Blade Knight pretty hard. I don't know if, like, Expert maybe knows that Nice Boy plays Warriors. I don't think he does. So, yeah, that play is a little risky, but it kind of happens to work out. So yeah, Expert uses the end phase goats. Note that you don't really have to use goats. You could just add back Sinister and meta the Sinister. But using the goats happens to kind of work out here, and you'll see why that is. Yeah, so Nice Boy is just gonna just solemn the meta. I actually agree with just setting one solemn turn 1. Like, usually in Warriors, I know, like, every Warrior player wants to, like, set all their back rows, like, turn 1, but a lot of the times you just don't really have to. But yeah, Expert hasn't used his normal summon here, so he's gonna just go ahead and attack over the Blade Knight, which is, if you're Expert, you're feeling pretty happy about that. So yeah, I'm just gonna crash here. Unfortunately, you can't, like, summon the second Blade Knight and run over the Kaiku, because you can't get your hand size low enough. That is a concern sometimes with Warriors, which I know is part of the reason that the newer age Warrior decks don't play a lot of monsters anymore, is because they're worried about that sort of thing. The Expert hits with Kaiku, banishes 2, pretty good for him. So yeah, now Nice Boy can set all the things and try to run over the Kaiku. Needless to say, playing, like, multiple Kaikus and, like, Goats meta is a bit of an interesting combination. Oh yeah, the Blade Knight dies. It's gonna premature the Blade Knight as a blocker. I mean, Nice Boy is definitely worried about his life points, so not too surprising. Tsukiyomi gets solemned. That also makes sense. And Nice Boy's gonna time seal. I agree with that too. And here, I mean, there's a couple of things you could do. Now, you could just go Blade Knight, attack over the Kaiku. I think I like that better than this play. But here, Nice Boy just kills all the goats. Now, you might be thinking, well, if you kill all the goats, then your opponent can't use them for meta. But Expert has a Sinister in the grave anyway, so you're not, like, really playing around meta by doing this. You're just committing all of your monsters, and then also making your Torrential worse. Like, if this Torrential Tribute was a Sakuretsu armor, I think this play would be a little better. But I feel like just leaving the Blade Knight in play, saving the Snatch Steal, and then maybe being able to get value out of Torrential, I think you could argue that that would have been better. But yeah, now we've kind of committed to the aggressive line, so Nice Boy's gonna continue that. Get the Kaiku banished so the opponent doesn't gain 1,000 with Snatch Steal. Banish the Sinister. Note that Expert, the expertly thing to do would be to not forget your Sinister, but that's not what he did, so he gets punished for that. And yeah, so this is like a pretty close game now. But Expert top decks MST, which MST and like Heavy would be, you know, two of the best draws. Like Heavy would obviously be even better than MST, but MST is still pretty good. And yeah. You know, in terms of like cards, it's about an even game, but Expert has a huge life point advantage, which we're gonna see he is able to convert into a win, because this thing is just gonna swing for game, right? So we go to game 2, no shenanigans yet, but we will see at the end of game 2 there are shenanigans to be had. So yeah, Nice Boy gets to go first. I don't like Upstart Goblin and Warriors, but we won't really talk about that. I've beaten that horse to death at this point. And I don't really think you need to sell these cards either. I would actually just like going set ring time seal, because then you can bait out the Heavy and chain time seal. Whereas here, if your opponent heavies, you have to sell them. The pro of setting all of these is that you play around duo. I mean, I guess you also play around Dust Shoot if your opponent is gonna like have Dust Shoot in versus your Warrior deck going second. I mean, they should never have Dust Shoot here, but anything's possible, I suppose. So yeah, it's kind of like the, do you want to play around Heavy or do you want to play around Duo? It's one of the more annoying 50-50s in GOAT format. I know people like complain about Duo a lot. To me, the annoying thing about Duo is the 50-50 that it creates with Heavy. But again, you know, I digress a bit here. And yeah, note that like Blade Knight, Thunder Dragon, not the best synergy. One thing that Expert could have done is just not discard the Thunder Dragon, set 4 cards. I actually would kind of like that play. 2 of these cards are actually just usable back rows anyway, and then your Blade Knight stays at 2,000. And having a 2,000 attack monster versus a 1,600 against Warriors is pretty huge. So I would, if I were Expert, I would highly consider not discarding the Thunder Dragon. I think a lot of people go on autopilot and then just go, whoa, I have Thunder Dragon, I have to discard it. But like, here you actually don't. Really, Expert probably just shouldn't be playing Blade Knight at all, because like what is, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a very weird list. Like, it's got Blade Knight, Kaiku, Thunder Dragon, and Goat's meta somehow. I don't know how you fit all that in one deck, but clearly Expert managed to do it. So yeah, Nice Boy has to use his Time Seal now if he wants to activate Rhoda, but I think he's just gonna, yeah, he just summons Exiled instead. Kills the Blade Knights, and yeah, basically just gets to take another turn here because Expert was under Time Seal, couldn't do anything. We're gonna Rhoda. Nice Boy knows that 2 of his opponent's cards are Thunder Dragon, so it's like, you could get Donslug, try to hit the other card that's not Thunder Dragon, but yeah, I actually think Blade Knight's pretty good. Yeah, Blade Knight seems fine, actually. I mean, it's more damage, and like the Donslug is really not likely to get value anyways. So yeah, Expert top decks the meta, which is kind of like a nice draw for him. The Brain Control gets booked. And then the meta gets, I think we got Ring, right? Yeah, we have Ring. So yeah, I got Book Ring. If you're Nice Boy, you're definitely feeling pretty good about this turn of events. Got your opponent to use 2 pretty strong cards, and you still get to keep your Blade Knight. So yeah, he's just going to be attacking tokens for a while. Expert's just going to ring the Blade Knight, which, yeah, makes sense. You know, if you're Expert, like, maybe you consider trying to, like, bait out a Solemn and then maybe being able to ring something for game. But I think just using the ring right away is fine. I don't know. Maybe you save the ring and just snatch the Blade Knight. That might actually be better, to be honest. And yeah, Nice Boy just prematures the Blade Knight as a blocker. I'm not sure if you really need to do that, to be honest. Like, your life points are, well, I don't know. Yeah, you might have to, like, yeah, things might get awkward with Solemn. If you had something like a Mirror Force, like, say you had Mirror Force instead of the Jar Greed, I would probably not use Premature in main phase 2. Also note that Expert has Mystic Swordsman level 2 in his deck versus Warriors. Like, that is not expertly. We'll put it that way. That is a non-expert thing to do. But here we are. So yeah, now Nice Boy has 2 Solves and a Mirror Force with this Blade Knight, which is, yeah, that's pretty hard to beat. Especially when your opponent's cards are 2 Thunder Dragons and a Mystic Swordsman level 2. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna sit the Seng in there, obviously. Yeah. Nice Boy Rotis for Mystic Swordsman level 2 of his own, which plays around Spy and Reaper. Which, who knows? Maybe those cards are in your opponent's deck. I mean, this guy's deck is just a weird pile of cards, so you never know. Don't want to just, like, randomly lose to a Spy, so yeah, might as well just get that Mystic Swordsman level 2. And yeah, somehow Expert just also has Ejection Fairy Lily in his deck. Like, I swear, like, you'd think this would be like a 50-card deck here, but it's not. So yeah, the Lily gets Mirror Forced. To be honest, I might just main phase 2 BLS, but I think he doesn't for some reason. I mean, he has the Light and the Dark. I would do it, like, not give your opponent the chance to top deck Kaiku. But yeah, for some reason, he just doesn't use the BLS right away. And now Nice Boy has a 3rd Solemn. So, the shenanigans are coming, guys. This wasn't bait. The shenanigans are coming. We got 3 Solemns. And yeah, opponent's like, well, better BLS now. Okay, gotta play BLS. Get Solemns. Note that 3,300 versus 2,900 on board. This normally wouldn't be enough for game. But since Expert plays Premature Burial, goes to 25, now this is just game on board. So Nice Boy just gets to Solemn all the things. And yeah, that's game. However, Expert tries this. And then concedes. So, yeah, you'll see what say in the chat. Yeah, this was like, what were you trying to do? Obviously, like, Nice Boy did know he had 2 Thunder Dragons. And Nice Boy says, that looks like cheating to me. Now, here's my opinion. Expert says, works some of the time, every time. Now, if we're sort of reading between the lines, well, what does working mean? Well, he means that some of the time, the opponent might just scoop after seeing a Light and Dark being banished. Now, so what Expert is saying is, I made an illegal play because I thought there was a small chance that it might trick you into conceding. To me, that is the intent to gain an unfair advantage. When you say, I am making illegal moves in order to get an advantage in the game, that is almost by definition cheating. Now, obviously, you know, Expert scooped after that. But remember, cheating isn't about the result, it's about the intent. So if you have the intent to gain an unfair advantage, it's still cheating even if it doesn't work, right? Like, if you try to stack your deck but mess it up and don't stack your deck, that's still cheating. And it's the same thing here. So I would argue, again, if this were like a real-life tournament, you would conduct an investigation, talk to the players, etc., etc. However, based on what was said in chat, I think there is pretty strong evidence to conclude that Expert was cheating. Now, Nice Boy calls a judge, but of course, it's DuelingBook, so there's no judge online. So yeah, Nice Boy just gives up and says, "Okay, fine, we'll go to game 3, whatever." But yeah, you really, guys, don't do that. You know, don't do that. And I know what some people are going to say. Some people in the comments are going to say, oh, why are you showing these people's match? You know, you didn't get permission. Okay, you know, if you don't want me to shame you on YouTube, don't cheat in your games. There's an idea, right? There's an idea. But believe it or not, you know, in Game 3, there are more shenanigans to be found. And we're going to get to see it pretty early, actually. We're going to get to see it pretty early. So yeah, you won't have to wait very long. Nice Boy gets Rhoda for DD Warrior Lady, which expert comments like, huh, that's weird, why not Donzalug? And I actually agree with expert for once. I think it is weird to not get Donzalug here. Who knows, maybe it was sided out or something. I don't know, we'll see what happens. So yeah, expert just goes for like the brain control Jinzo play, because I mean, yeah, that's good. Jinzo actually is a good card, so second time I agree with expert on something. So yeah, the Jinzo goes through. So yeah, Nice Boy has one out to this Jinzo, and that is premature for DD Warrior Lady. Now, Nice Boy attacks Jinzo. Now, for everyone who knows how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And do math, who takes damage and how much? The answer, of course, is Nice Boy should take 900 damage. Instead, what happens is Expert subtracts 900 off his life points, and Nice Boy just doesn't say anything. Like, Expert has no idea what happened. Nice Boy, now I'm not a mind reader. So this could just be an honest mistake on both their parts. Obviously, again, the first mistake here was Expert, right? Expert made the first mistake of subtracting 900 from his own life points. However, again, if your opponent does something like this, where they calculate life points wrong, you as the other player are supposed to correct them. And if you let your opponent sort of give yourself a better life total than you should actually have, and you know what you're doing, that is, again, an intent to gain an unfair advantage, which is cheating. So, again, I don't know, because I'm not a mind reader. I didn't talk to these players. However, it wouldn't surprise me if Nice Boy thought to himself, well, in Game 2, Expert tried to cheat me, so since, you know, Expert's being an idiot here and subtracting the 900 from himself instead of me, I'm basically going to cheat back, right? You know, sort of fight fire with fire. Again, I don't know. Because it's all about intent, right? But the score right now should be Expert 5,700, Nice Boy 3,900. That would be an 1,800 life point difference instead of it being a tie game. And that is hugely relevant, right? Like, again, if you're, you know, it's sort of like in school, you know, when the teacher, like, grades your test wrong, you know, if they marked a question wrong when it was really supposed to be right, you'd go back to the teacher and go, hey, you know, you messed up the grading. You need to fix the score in my favor. But then if the opposite happened, where the teacher marked a question right and it was really wrong, well, would you go to the teacher and say, hey, you marked this question right, but it was really wrong? Most people wouldn't. But in Yu-Gi-Oh! And other card games, you have to. If your opponent makes a mistake with the life points in your favor, you have to correct them. And if you intentionally do not correct them, that is cheating. So that being said, let's see how the rest of the game develops here. So yeah, Breaker breaks. For some strange reason, Expert sides in Mind Control versus Warriors, but it happens to work out okay for him. Yeah, so now Nice Boy's at 3,200. Really, he should be at 23. So yeah, we're gonna MST back. Yeah, we're gonna Jargreed into Potagreed. But he, I think, doesn't activate Potagreed because he doesn't want to chance the Potagreed drawing into 2 Warriors, which I agree with. I think this is good play on Nice Boy's part. Again, I think most people would just slam Potagreed as soon as possible. But yeah, Nice Boy does the right play. Mirror Force is gone, so we don't have to turn Spy to defense. We can just go for damage. But again, realize here, Expert should have 41, not 32. Again, we're back to the scenario where the score shows it as being tied, but really Expert should be ahead by 1,800. So yeah, I guess, yeah, you're gonna flip the Spy down and up, get the other Spy. And is this game? Yeah, he's still got like that meta set. So yeah, so again here, he's attacking for 2435. Now again, that shouldn't be game. Expert should have 41. Now you could attack in a different order. So if, 41, I mean, you could have like Spy attack and then attack for 43 here, but that's obviously like a little more, a little more risky. But yeah, so that's the match. Again, let me know what you guys think about this. I want to see your thoughts. There is definitely, at a bare minimum, there is some toxicity in this game, and worst case scenario, both of these players cheated, right? Like, again, I'm pretty sure that Expert cheated. Think there's a reasonable case to be made that Nice Boy probably cheated as well, but we don't know for sure. So yeah, let me know what you think, and if you guys like spicy duel reviews, then you should watch this one here.